Hello and welcome to the Wedding Dish Podcast. Grab your fork and knife and take a seat at our table as we dish on all things weddings. You'll hear stories and tips from real couples and wedding pros about love, life, and entrepreneurship. I am Sarah Alapin, your hostess with the mostest on the Wedding Dish Podcast, and I'm the CEO of Photos from the Harty and District Bliss. Our little French bulldog buddy, Clouseau, is not hanging out with me right now. He decided he wanted to lay on the squishy carpet downstairs, and you know what? I just can't blame him. Sometimes you need a break from listening to me talk. Today, we're dishing with a lovely human who specializes in pressed flower frames and bouquet preservation. And she offers an easy ordering process with free nationwide shipping. Love that. I would like to welcome the human behind Four Keeps Florals, Grace Scott. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I am very excited and honored.
Yay! I'm so excited to have you on the show. This is going to be such a fun conversation.
Yay, good. I'm glad you have interest in it.
Yes, I think it's so fascinating. And I didn't know what to do with my bouquet when I got married. I got married actually in Paso Robles.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, yeah. Very nice.
And so I left my bouquet with my brother-in-law who was living in San Jose at the time. And had him ship it back. And he shipped it in what I would call a very man way. He dried it and shipped it. And he put in a giant box that was halfway filled with peanuts. And the dried flowers are just in pieces.
Yeah. That can happen for sure. We've gotten some of those, but luckily not so much anymore.
That's why I love that what you're doing. I think it's just like, because you want to do something with it. You picked out your flowers. Like you spent time on this. You spent money on this and they meant something.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of sentiment in them for sure. So we like to make it easy for our clients and help them with that packaging and things to do with those flowers because we don't want to just see them go in the trash.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny because that's how I really would describe it. As 5 years ago. When my wedding was over, we were cleaning up the next day and I was like, wait, hold on. And I didn't necessarily even press my actual bouquet because it had a lot of fun that day. It kind of got a little trashed, but just flowers left over. And I took a bunch and I was like, wait, I'm going to do something a little bit. And that's how Hero Discount started too.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that you had enough fun that your bouquet was a little trash too.
My favorite flower of all time is a Friday peony. And they are very delicate and it had way too much fun. So it was kind of a hot day, just all those factors. But and that was another thing I learned too. We like to prepare our customers too, even before the wedding happens to say like, hey, as soon as your ceremony is done, as soon as your photos are done, like hand it off to someone you trust and that you can get it in water because then it'll be more prepared for us and well taken care
of. Brilliant. Because I wouldn't have known that.
Right. Yeah. It's easy to pass up.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me why flower preservation is so popular right now. This conversation just leads right into my first question.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of people these days that are a little bit more eco-friendly and want to, figure out ways to get that, just the way that they want something to come across like either environmentally or just the sentimentality for sure of your bouquet. And like you said, flowers, they do these days especially cost a lot of money, put so much time in with your florist and you want to find a way to keep them around forever. And that's where we come into play. So I think preservation has I feel like my mom, she giggles because she's like, I feel like this was a thing when I got married in the 70s, and, but I feel like that was done a little bit differently, either just hanging upside down, drying. And I think there's just a lot more ways to do it these days as well. So it's like, we do it a kind of a unique way where it's actually a little bit more DIY friendly. But yeah, a lot of different ways to do it these days. And then the eco-friendly, and then just finding ways to keep your money and your your memory around forever. I think that really that plays into why it's so much more popular these days.
Yeah, and that speaks to my little photographer heart too.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
that's why the pictures are so important.
Yeah, and it's so fun to just keep the wedding day alive. And once we get it in our hands, we like to ask for the florist or the photographer so we can like through social media tag those people and just continue that cool wedding industry. I love it. It's the best.
I love when people do that with the vendor team, because it's just like, it's so great to keep it alive for us too, because we all put so much time, energy, and effort into weddings.
Yeah.
But I won't take us down that pathway.
I could talk about that for hours too.
I know, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
What makes a good pressed flower frame or bouquet preservation piece? Like you were mentioning in the 70s, it was definitely a thing to save your florals and preserve them. But I feel like they did like shadow boxes and like they kept it just as is, to your point of hanging it upside down. What makes a good pressed flower bouquet?
Yeah. Like we talked about, I think that there is a lot of different ways to do the pressing these days, and then a lot of ways to preserve the flowers these days as well. We use a microwave press, which is a little unique. A lot of people do like that old school, hand turn big press that really gets the flowers flat as well. But we do the microwave press. There's things that are done in resin these days you can make beautiful big pieces. And then the old school press. Or there are some clients that still do love the shadow box look. So that's just a simple hang the flowers upside down, either all in one piece as it was, or individually hang them dry. And then I've seen a lot of preservation artists do some really cool stuff with that stuff still. But yeah, we use a microwave press, and it's actually, I feel like we might talk about DIY. I feel like it's probably the most DIY friendly. I, of course, have learned a ton of tricks of what presses well in those, what doesn't, what, different ways for all of that. And how long to do it in the microwave, how long to leave it on a tray after the microwave. There's all kinds of factors that go into making your preservation piece. And then, of course, it took us, I would say, probably a year to really figure out what frame we liked, what frame style we liked. My husband is the handy guy behind our work, and he came up with this amazing kind of spacing in our frame that even leaves a little gap in the bottom of our frames where if small pieces or even a larger piece falls in transit or something, you can easily kind of Tetris it and shift it to the bottom of our frame, and then it disappears. It's amazing. UV front protected glass, it's huge. We made a bunch of frames for trade shows when we first started, just to start getting our name around, and they have changed exponentially through that. We decided on the UV protected glass for our custom frames because when it's hanging in your home, if it's in the light that people want it to be in that space above their couch, like it will be a little better protected because obviously the sun can even damage your piece of art in your home. But the UV protection really helps, not change the colors of your flowers. And then going back to the microwave press, I feel like it has really done well with keeping the color of the flowers. Of course, they can change as we go, but we like to keep the organic feel of flowers and really play with the natural color that they get during the pressing process. And then the way that the frames are hung. And just making sure you have the double hangers in the back to make sure it's hung well on your wall. And because it's a heavy piece, it's double glass most of the time. And I would just say high quality materials. We do some small resin work. I started it when I got married. I gifted my girls a bracelet with the resin, and it would have little pressed flowers in it. So we do, the non-toxic glue and resin, and like I said, that organic feel we like to do. little chemicals and color correction. I was pregnant when I first started, and then I just had a baby 2 months ago as well. So I think I was shying away from those chemical things and the non-toxic resin and glue. So maybe that was part of it. I was trying to just find better ways for my baby's health and whatever. But yeah, I think that makes it high quality as well.
I really like that. I don't know anything about microwave pressing. I'm so curious. I have about 1,000 questions, but tell me what that looks like in practice.
It is a cool little, like, I think it's 9x9 square microwave press, and we get them on Amazon. It's through a company called Microflor. And they're easy. They have little clips on the sides, and they kind of look like those ones that people would make themselves, the hand turn microwave or the hand turn hand press. But this is, it has two types of padding in it and like a thin paper that we replace on occasion. And you literally just, if you say you have a row, sometimes we do it pedal by pedal. Other times we do it, by the whole rows, and you put it face down. I actually used to do it on my Instagram. I would do like a microwave press day and show our customers how that works. But you do it for 30-second increments, and because otherwise, if you do it for too long, your flowers can burn. Or I've had it all. I've overcooked flowers. I've undercooked them. It's kind of stinky. So I always prepare my employees for that, because there are some flowers that stink a little more than others. But what we do is as soon as we get a bouquet, we process it and snip off all the good stuff. And it takes about a half an hour or an hour even sometimes for an entire bouquet to be processed in the microwave. And then we lay it out on big, you can imagine, baking sheets. And then they dry for another month, I would say. Some flowers need to be flipped because when they come out of the microwave, they have a little moisture left in them. And you don't want that any molding to happen if they sit on one side for too long. So a lot of love and care, but I think that it's a very DIY friendly thing to use.
Yeah, it sounds very DIY friendly, but it also sounds like it's a ton of work, and I would rather send it to you.
Yes, I appreciate that. I do have some people say, well, I feel like I could just do this at home. And I always say, you can, but I would leave it to the professional.
Yeah, because the cost is high if you make a mistake.
Right. Yeah.
You're ruining something that you wanted to save.
Yes. Like that. Yeah. Very sentimental.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's really cool. I've never heard of that. I had no idea that was a thing. I am so fascinated. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, it's on Amazon, and we're Microflor's biggest friend.
I love that. And I mean, I'm looking at them in the background, and I'm just like, I cannot imagine how you got this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see, or you'll see on our Instagram too. But the flowers, I just can't picture how this worked in the microwave. That's so fascinating.
Yeah. It's fun. It was super, it was very tedious, and took a lot of time to, when we first started to play around with all that stuff. But we have a really good system now, and they do great. We love it.
Interesting. So what are some of the benefits of having a professional do this versus DIYing?
Yeah. Like I said, I think that, you're going to get a really nice piece of art at the end of this, something that's going to last a lifetime, that we put effort into finding the best frame quality. We have that experience with, what flowers press well and the way they should be pressed. And, we use the nice materials to make sure that you get a good piece that your flowers are just going to be well taken care of. And, we've time and again, lots of practice on hanging them on your wall. And I still have mine from my wedding, and I just love it. So yeah, you're going to get that time and effort that you might not have. And just the experience that we have put into making sure it's going to be a good piece.
Yeah. And, it sounds to me like it would be helpful to have this plan before your wedding, like to think about this when you're engaged so that I could ask you questions so that I
Right.
would know, anticipate which flowers might do best and also then manage my own expectations. Because if I really love a certain flower and it's not going to do great, then at least I have the expectation that like it's not going to look as beautiful as I was like envisioning, but it will still be, beautiful in its own way.
Yeah. Yeah. We love when people order ahead of time, obviously. I feel like there's a sweet spot for ordering 4 to 6 months out, maybe at the most, because we love, that at that point, you really know, even if it's not a wedding, you know what your flowers are going to be, and, really how you want them preserved as far as sizing and everything like that. But when people order on our website, we follow up immediately with an email that says, our care tips and how to get us the flowers. And we even have a whole YouTube video of, packaging and getting us the flowers and shipping instructions and all that good stuff. Because it's, you don't have to really be prepared. We get a lot of, hey, my wedding was this past Saturday. Can I still ship you the flowers? And as long as we get flowers within 5 to 7 days, we're in good shape. But yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. This is like such a fascinating process, and it's such an arm of the business that I'm not that I haven't learned about yet.
Sure. I know. And like you said, I know it was a thing in the past, but I feel like it's definitely getting more trendy, and it's cool to really just like share our experience and get more and more people involved because it is such a nice thing to keep around.
I know. I wish I had mine. Ugh.
Hey, you let me know. We always recreate too. I have done quite a few of, it's our anniversary this weekend, and we just need a photo. And I was a wedding florist for like 10 years before this, which helped with my experience. And we can always recreate bouquets that way too.
Oh.
So you just need a picture and it makes a really nice anniversary gift.
Oh, I love that. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
When you're checking out on our website, we have a section where you click like, I will provide the flowers. So you'll be sending it to us, or it says for Keats will provide the flowers. And that's our bouquet recreation. And we just ask for a fee, which is basically just takes away from you shipping up the flowers, which usually costs about $50 to $100. So we ask for $80 to do that.
Okay. That's totally reasonable. So if your flowers have too much fun that day, or if your brother-in-law ships them with half the amount of peanuts that I love him dearly.
Yeah. I know. We're still good. Yeah. We just got one, the mom, she might have goofed up or something. And I can't remember, she was in Florida, and that's a long way to come to be shipped to California in general. But I think she was, already 4 days past the wedding, and then it was going to arrive to us. But, I recommend ship overnight at that point, but that can be expensive and stuff. So she's like, can I just pay for you to recreate it? And it always is just great too.
Yeah. I love that that's an option.
Yeah.
That's so smart. So smart. Do you have any final tips for couples who are thinking about preserving their bouquets or flowers, and, who really want to have that memory?
Yeah. All in all, I think, preparedness is very helpful. I think that as long as you, learn the tips we have about, how to get us the flowers or what to do with the flowers right after the ceremony or the wedding. Preparedness is great for us. It helps the entire process because we have a whole thing we like to say. We love for you to, kind of leave it in the hands of someone you trust, a bridesmaid or your mom or something that can really handle doing this whole thing for you. Either getting us the flowers at one of our drop-off locations or taking them on and shipping them the next day, or a lot of weddings are on Saturdays, so by Monday, getting them in the mail for you, because your wedding day is such a blur. It's so much fun. You're going to have way too much fun. You're not going to be thinking about your flowers sitting on that table or something. So leaving it to someone you trust is super helpful, and it really just helps the process move along quicker and more room or less room for error. And then, yeah, I mean, why not preserve your flowers? That's my biggest tip. I think it's something you will never regret. And it just makes for a beautiful statement piece that you will see in your home for the rest of your life. And it makes you smile and think about your day. I look at mine on my mantle and I love it. And I get a lot of compliments on it. So you should definitely preserve your flowers.
I love that. This really makes me wish that I had, but I have the option to recreate. So
yes. There's some room to work for that. So it's fun. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, Grace, thank you so much for joining me on the wedding dish today. Where can people find For Keeps Florals online?
Yeah, our website is www.forkeepsflorals.com. We're also on Instagram. It's just at For Keeps Florals. And then we have LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Everything's called For Keeps Florals. We are in California. And yeah, I think that's everywhere online. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. Well, while you are going to find For Keeps Florals online, you can find, and we will, of course, link to all of this in the episode description for those of you who are driving or like walking the dog or whatever. You don't have to worry about scrambling to get to the website right now. We will link for you. And you can find our website over at theweddingdishpodcast.com. And you can follow us on Instagram at The Wedding Dish Podcast. And we will, of course, tag For Keeps Florals in all of our, sharing out about this episode. It's just been so lovely to chat with you, Grace. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I do have one more thing. We just hit about almost 800 orders, and we're at 1,000 orders. We're going to do a big giveaway. So follow us on Instagram and stay tuned for that. We're thinking that's going to be really fun. Hopefully at the start of next year.
Okay, everybody for sure go over and do that. And then take pictures and tag both of us when you win.
Yeah.
So I can enjoy it too. And live vicariously through you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
I love it. I love it. Everybody give us a follow, rate, and review. Thank you so much for tuning into The Wedding Dish today. And until we meet again, cheers.
Cheers.